All right, Vinny. Settle it. You are a son of Detroit. You were raised by the bad boys. I thought it was a playoff foul. I'll give you a flagrant 1 if you insist. But flagrant 2? Nah. What say you?
I understand why the league did what they did. It was not the call that I would have made. But when you make contact to the head and then you grab the jerseys, like tap, tap, like 2001, I think it was a accumulation call. I think it was also a reputation call on Draymond Green. Like, I was on a plane. I was headed to Phoenix, which is where I am now. And it was funny. I started getting texts like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. And on airplanes, you're a few seconds behind real time. So I'm like, well, what did they do? Did they throw Draymond out? And they were like, yes. And he's running around the court acting like a fool. And I was like, okay, well, they threw him out.
Little Antonio Brown-esque performance. I kind of dug it. I don't know if that makes me a hypocrite, but I dug it, you know?
I'd rather have him do that than to yell and berate the officials on his way out and get, further punishment. But to your point, did you guys hear about the new executive vice president of NBA operations today that just came out the past couple hours?
Joe Dumars, yes.
So if we're going to have a return to natural order, of course, it's always going to be Detroit that resets the course, that puts the league back in a place that it needs to go. And maybe the next time something like this happens, we can have some perspective. Now, the question I have for the league is, what constitutes a playoff foul? What is a hard contact foul that is hard, that is tough?
Well, that's the question.
Going up, that's not flagrant. I need to see.
That's the question I have for you. Because maybe you could explain the rule to me. Because you mentioned you started off, and obviously the jersey grab, even though he caught him on the way down, was a part of it. But when you said the contact to the face, is it any kind of contact to the face, or is it excessive? Because
wind up.
But but wind up and impact. But with what intent? And I'm not talking about whether or not you intended to do harm. I'm talking about if you're swiping down at the ball, which to me it clearly looks like he was swiping down at the ball, and he caught his face. Why is that flagrant as opposed to just an accident that's part of basketball? The jersey grab, if you want to have a problem with that, okay. I mean, not so much, but the swiping. So anytime you wind up to make a play on the ball and you catch somebody in the face, that's a flagrant foul?
They're probably going to call it. Honestly, they're probably going to call that a flagrant 1. Like when I played basketball, and I was amongst the trees, the best way to get someone, as opposed to trying to get them on the way up or get them at the top, is to swipe down before the ball goes above their waist. I think what happened is Draymond swiped down and didn't get it, right? He swiped down and didn't get contact with the ball, and Clark was still going up, so he grabbed him again, and not to grab him to foul him, not grab him to catch his foul, but to grab him to stop him again. So I think they looked at it as an accumulation. I wouldn't have called that a flagrant 2. Not in a playoff game of consequence, not in a player. I understand this is where the league is. This is exactly, look, you guys bitched and complained when Michael Jordan wasn't flying through the air, when the Pistons were playing the way that they played. You guys complained when it was us. Y'all didn't complain when it was the Celtics, but you complained when it was us, and this is the league that you have.
Are you happy now?
He said us.
He said
us.
with it.
He said us.
I knew this was triggering. I knew this was triggering. I knew it. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for professional Vinny to get back to the D. There we go. Go ahead, Michael.
I just want to point out, Vinny, this is great. I love it. And you're right. Detroit did this, the bad boys, and you know what? NBA didn't really like it. Then it kind of was phased out a little bit, and it probably was peak. No, the NBA didn't like the style of play. The fans didn't like it. Outside of Detroit.
Hold on. We're going to reset this.
Outside of Detroit, people didn't like it. I know they sold videos. They sold an image.
You're not going to sit here and perpetuate these lies. You're not going to do this, Michael Holley. For one, they didn't care when the Celtics did it, when Kevin McHale was clotheslining Kurt Rambis in midair.
Yeah, they didn't call it that, though. It was different.
And Larry Bird was getting two-punch combos to Bill Laimbeer. They didn't care then.
Sure.
They didn't care when it's the
Yeah, because they didn't like Detroit.
Right, and Xavier
the persecution complex is real.
Oakley.
Hold on.
So don't say, don't say they didn't like. Don't say that they didn't like.
No, the persecution.
They didn't like
the persecution complex.
By.
The persecution complex that anybody in Detroit has is real because you're right. It was a double standard. People liked it when it was done to Detroit. People didn't like it when it was done by Detroit. And when the Knicks did it, that changed back. The rules changed. Pat Riley's Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, Knicks, John Starks, they ain't like that. And so they're never going to go back to that. So if Joe Dumars thinks he's going to restore order, he's in for a very rude awakening. Nope. They don't want it anymore. Don't want it.
I'm not saying that I think Joe's going to take it back there. Because if you looked at it, the point of emphasis going into this season was about allowing more physical play for defenders and to give defenses more of a chance to sort of prevent against, the Trae Youngs and the James Hardens and some of the nonsense that they were doing. And they succeeded for maybe a month and a half. And then it seemed like it went right back to business as usual. So I do think that you're right, that the league wants it to be this way, but I do think it's important to have someone of perspective. Like, why do y'all always drag me in this? Every time I think I'm out, y'all pull me back in. This is not
because it's
y'all
fun.
Y'all playing the hits.
We're picking at that scab. Look, man.
This dude right here.
So when you look back at like the fact that like Kobe Bryant has one MVP, or we'll probably look back and think LeBron, like, how'd he only have 4? How's Jordan only have 6? Whatever, right? Scottie Pippen is one of the elite perimeter defenders of all time. Nobody that's got any semblance of basketball knowledge disputes that. So it does feel like, oh man, Scottie Pippen never won a Defensive Player of the Year award? Oh man, that feels weird because he was a great defender. But it wasn't because people were fixated on Michael Jordan. You're fixated on Michael Jordan. He's more obsessed with Michael Jordan than any of us could ever be, and I'm the biggest Jordan sycophant alive. I got Jordan everything head to toe, and I'm telling Scottie Pippen is the one that won't let it go. Not to mention the people who won Defensive Player of the Year during his career. It wasn't like they were scrubs. It wasn't like he was robbed. Vinny, get your mans.
Which direction do y'all want me?
Whose heart your Pistons took? Yes, go ahead. Have at it.
Riddle me this, Batman. Which direction do y'all want me to go? Do you want me to go to the basketball or the bitter Betty? Which one you want me to go?
Bitter.
Both.
Let's go bitter. Go
okay,
bitter. Go bitter. Go
first.
bitter.
Bitter first, then basketball.
Bitter first.
Bitter first, then basketball.
Scottie Pippen has never realized that if it weren't for Michael Jordan, we wouldn't know who Scottie Pippen was. He'll be just another half-decent player. If you put him anywhere other than Chicago to start his career, in the middle of his career, anywhere, he would be just another dude. He wouldn't even be, a guy that I think about that was really, really good for a period of time and nobody talks about him? Sidney Moncrief. Why? Because Sidney Moncrief didn't play next to a Michael Jordan or next to a Kareem or a Magic. You just happen to be the dude standing next to the dude. See all these photos we got? We got Mike and we got Scottie. You don't have pictures of Scottie standing by himself because nobody took a picture of Scottie by himself. Why? Because Scottie wouldn't worth a damn. That's why.
With his ungrateful ass.
Now we can go to the
basketball wise.
We can go to the basketball. The game back then was made for the big man. Do people not remember that? You know who won Defensive Player of the Year? David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon. Guys like that, the 7-footers, the guys who patrolled the lane. The only smaller guys that won.
Here's the list.
Gary Payton won it.
Go ahead.
Dennis Rodman won it twice, but Dennis Rodman was an exceptional rebounder in addition to being the best on-ball defender in the game. That's what made him special.
I'll just interject real quick. These are the people who won it during Pippen's heyday, his peak. Rodman, Robinson, you mentioned Gary Payton, Olajuwon, Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning. It's the same thing with MVP. So you're going to take it from them? Like they didn't deserve it? Because we were watching. Everybody knew he was great on defense.
Can we take an opportunity? I'm going to be a Scottie Pippen truther here. Can we also take the opportunity to end this myth that people say all the time on certain platforms to prop up LeBron or to prop up whomever, to say, well, Michael Jordan retired, the Bulls only lost 2 fewer games because Scottie Pippen was the MVP. Let me introduce you to Sitting Bull. Do y'all remember Sitting Bull? The guy who sat his ass down in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Knicks. You know, when they couldn't
take the last shot. Oh yeah.
Why? Because he couldn't get his own shot up the possession before. Scottie Pippen was never a dude who could get his own shot. And in that year, you could name about 10 guys better than him. There was never a point in his career where Scottie Pippen was a top 5 player. Not one single damn year, Michael Smith. I was just saying to the couldn't get his own shot part. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But okay. He could get his own shot. But the part about that year, I will say, hindsight supports your point about him not being a top 5 at any point in his career. But that season, with the numbers he was putting up, and maybe it was trying to give Scottie his flowers and what he was doing without Jordan, maybe the narrative took over. He was getting MVP love in the moments. Looking back, maybe I'm not arguing with whether he was top 5 in that era but in that season, Scottie Pippen was the man in that season. He was killing it in that season. My bad. I'm sorry. I got too many memories of Grant Hill doing it every year as opposed to Scottie for doing it 1 year. My bad.
Listen,
I'm sorry.
I just said maybe it was we were falling over ourselves to give Scottie the love that he thinks he was being denied. Since he thinks he's a stepchild.
And wait, in the words of the remake that never came out from Mary J. and Faith Evans, love don't live here anymore.
They remade that song?
They remade the song.
It never came out?
Did they?
Go on YouTube.
What do we do about this?
Go on YouTube.
What do we do about this?
Go on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
Hey, you know what he did though? You know what he won? I'll tell you an MVP won that year. All-Star game MVP.
In the words of Derek Coleman,
that's it. Whoop-de-damn dude. All-Star game MVP. But I agree. He was never like top 5.
So, you know what? I feel like y'all are like doing this to me to get me riled up, like in lathered up before a playoff game. He had to get my blood pressure up and everything else. It was Isaiah Thomas's birthday a couple days ago. Joe D is getting, executive vice president, and y'all bring up Scottie Pippen. Like we ain't got nothing better to talk about besides Scottie Pippen.
Who you like? Who you like quickly in Suns Mavs? You like the Suns in this series?
Put it like this. I will say this. I think the Suns will win, but what if Luka is going to pull LeBron in 2007 and just decide that, we're not losing games? What happens then?
Well, I would also say this team is better than that, though. This team is pretty good. The supporting cast he got is pretty damn good, too. So you got 3 guys that can get their own shot. Vinny, you can get your own shot. We know that about you. Vinny Goodwill. That's going to go in your obit and your tombstone. Could get his own shot. Is there a greater compliment than you could get your own shot? There is no greater compliment.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.